Hi everyone! Today I'm here with my July wrap up. So on my July TBR I had 7 books, but actually in July I finished 8 books, but only some of them were from my TBR and some of them I just added throughout the month. So from my July TBR I completed 4 books and started the 5th one, so I think it's quite good. Most of the books I read actually during the BookTubeAthon week. Now let's get into the books and what I thought of them. The first book that I finished in July, I started it in June, and that was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. This was a reread, but at some points I felt like I was reading it for the very first time ever, and I really liked it. This book made me cry, this book made me happy, even though I'm very familiar with the story. I was prepared for some things that happened in this book, but I cried anyway. So it is still very much impactful on me, and I love this story. To be quite honest, I want to start rereading it again, but this time in English in my gorgeous edition that I have them in. So that's very tempting, but I'm trying not to because I just finished the series and I need a break from them. The second book that I read was a book from the library, and that was Ways to See a Ghost by Emily Diamond. And that book was about this girl whose mom is supposed to be a psychic, but then her daughter is actually the one who has the powers to see ghosts. So, and there's this creature which just escaped somehow, and now she just needs to deal with it somehow. So this book was interesting. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was a middle grade story, and I usually quite like those. This time it was very interesting, but then at some points I don't quite know what it was that I didn't even give it 4 stars. Maybe sometimes I felt a bit boring or not much happened, and I don't quite know. It was between multiple perspectives, multiple point of view, the point of view from the girl and from her friend, and they would just flip from one to another, and it was quite interesting in that way, because we see one side of things happening with one thing that was about aliens. The boy's father was into aliens and the things that he was doing for it, and the other one was Ivy, I think her name was, I can't remember, but with Ivy and her mum, what they were doing. Anyway, that was a good book, but I don't want to continue on with the series. I expected something more from it. BookTubeAthon week started and I read the rest 6 books. The first one that I finished was A Wayne in a Manger by this author. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to try and pronounce that because I don't want to ruin it completely. This was basically a collection of short stories. He basically just attended some primary school plays or something for Christmas and things like that, so it was quite interesting. Some of the stories would be really funny because the children would be doing some funny, cute, strange things, and that would just completely change the whole story nativity thing. I don't know, I'm not into religion as much, but I don't know why I chose this book. I probably just didn't expect it would be about that, but I read it and I found it funny because it was mostly like really children acting those people from Christianity and things like that. I'm a Christian, but I'm not familiar with many things of Christianity, so I don't know. Anyway, I found it interesting and cute, but I gave it 3 stars. The next book that I finished was my buddy read with Jess from Between the Lines, and that book was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I really enjoyed it. She found it a bit slow, I believe, in some points, but I actually had no problem with it. I usually mind a lot when a book is going slowly, but for this one I was just enjoying it, and I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. This is obviously the first book from the Shadowhunters series, and I think everyone knows what this book is about, so it's probably pointless for me to try and explain it to you. This book was a bit slow, but then some of the things that happened, I was shocked. I'm usually good at seeing what is going to happen next and things like that, but in this one I didn't quite know what's gonna happen, and I would be surprised. At some points I was like, yeah, I knew that already, but then towards the end I was like, what? The next book was The Uncommoners, The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell. This book is about these two children who one day see a feather writing something on their grandmother's wall, and then they're lost in a world of uncommon objects, which means that some of the objects have different powers. For example, a simple lemon juice squeezer could have a completely different power of, in this world, Londoner, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was so much fun. This was cute and unique. Sometimes it would feel a bit weird with some of the things that the objects would be doing, and I gave this book 4 stars, but again, I'm not planning to continue with the series. I'm not quite sure why. I really enjoyed the book. If I had the rest of the series, I would probably just continue reading it, but I have no desire to try and find them. The next book that I read was The Fifth Child by Doris Lessing, and that was the book for the book club. And this book was about this family who has 4 children, and then they have the 5th one, which is very different from anyone else, and they don't know who he is. Is he even a human being? So I thought I would like this book a lot more than I did. I gave it 3 stars. In the end, we didn't quite get the answer for the main question, who he is, and I got a bit angry with the author because I thought, why write this book? I mean, I didn't quite understand the purpose of it, and it felt a bit like, what is bad? What is so bad about a family who wants to have a lot of children? And it's like their punishment that they have this 5th one who's very different. But overall, I was reading it in the evening, and it was a very short book. It was 133 pages or something like that, and I was reading it for about 2 hours without stopping because it just was very engaging and I wanted to continue reading it. But then I had to go to sleep, and then I continued reading on the second day, and it was very, very engaging. I couldn't stop reading it, so that's why I gave it 3 stars. It started very, very happily. I was happy whilst reading it, but then after that 5th child appeared, things started going wrong. And I was quite curious about this boy, why he was like that, and it was interesting to read about him, but then he did some things that just were not very nice things, and it put me off a bit. The next book that I read, that was an audiobook, and that was The Magic City by Ian Nesbitt. It is a children's book, children's classic book. I found this app on my phone recently. It is called Free Audiobooks, and I found this one. This book was basically about this boy who built a city of different things, and then somehow it became live. This book was interesting, and I really liked the narrator. I gave this book 3 stars. It was cute and interesting, but nothing really that great. Just nice little read. Quite a fast book to listen to. And the last book that I finished in July was Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, the second book from the Percy Jackson series. And I've heard that this book is probably people's least favorite book, but I actually really enjoyed it. I probably even enjoyed it more than the first one for some reason, even though I really enjoyed the first one too. But this one I felt was probably even better, or as good as the first one. And I gave it 4 stars, so I'm definitely going to continue on with the series soon. Now, there are 2 other books that I started reading but haven't finished. The first one is Stealing Time by KJ Waters. I won this book in a giveaway, and I started reading it. I'm halfway through the book, but it's going very, very slowly for me. I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. This book is about this storm which is coming, and now one of the main characters finds herself back in the past in the 17th century, and now she's being accused of being a witch. I expected much more from it, and the thing that is bothering me a lot is just slang. A lot of slang. I don't know why, but I'm not a fan of it in books. I feel like it just ruins them. Even I, in real life, I don't use so much slang words or swear words or something, it's not nice, and it's not nice to read in books. It is not the only problem that I have with it. It is just really slow for me, and the characters, none of the characters are likable. I don't like any of them, especially there is a specific character who I can't stand him, and when he's in the book it just puts me off. I might do a review on this book at some point. I'm not sure. I will definitely have to do it on Goodreads because I wanted to give away in Goodreads. And another book that I started yesterday, which was the last day of the BookTubeAthon. Today is the 31st of July that I'm filming it, and that was Anne of Green Gables by L.N. Montgomery. And again, I'm listening to it as an audiobook. I'm only on chapter 3, I believe, so I'm really enjoying it at the moment. So we'll see how it goes in August. So that's it for my wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I just mentioned, and also let me know what's your favorite book of July. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye.